Hey everybody, welcome to Mr. Joynt Live on YouTube. This is Conspiracies and Cold Beverages with Mr. Joynt. This is episode 2. Tonight we'll be discussing on this spooky Friday the 13th evening, Buck versus Bell. It's a 1927 Supreme Court case, and I guarantee you, if you want to sleep tonight, turn this channel off right now, okay? Because this will keep you up tonight about the topics we're about to discuss. Mr. Joynt will be joining us in a minute. He is busy changing his diaper. So let's just go through a couple things, and I promise you the worst part of this show will be over. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on YouTube. The only reason why we ask that you do that is just so you get notifications. It's not a big deal. We don't want this really going viral or popular. It's just more for Mr. Joynt and his fellow alumnus, his students. And we do try to be here every Friday night. I know we've missed a few weeks. We'll get into that in a minute on why. And if you want, you could send Mr. Joynt drink money, or tonight we're doing chicken wings. It's $1 per wing, and use Cash App. Here's the promo code. It's also in the description. You get a free $5 for signing up. I know $5 isn't worth crap. It doesn't buy anything anymore. Inflation's through the roof. But if you don't need it, give it to Mr. Joynt. He'd appreciate it. Buy him some chicken wings. He is on a teacher's salary, so he is giving me a thumbs up. He got his diaper changed, so hold on a second. Here he is, Mr. Joynt.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. The diaper is not fitting properly when I'm here. Go ahead. All right. Joe Biden. Yes, sir. I see that. You forgot this message.
I changed it. I know.
That's
I know
funny.
we pick on him. I feel bad.
I know.
For the guy.
I don't really feel bad for him. To say that you went to Delaware State University, which is a 99.9% black university, and to say that's where you went to school, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's it. It's, whatever. Go ahead. It's like me saying I have a full head of hair. Sorry, we know that's not true. Okay.
Well, you do. You just shaved. You shaved.
Yeah, I know. I'm wearing the hat that my ancestor would have and Robbie's ancestor would have worn if the Union ancestor, if they had lived through whatever Battle of Petersburg. I wear this every time we're here. But go ahead. Go. Take it away. No time left.
No, just real quick. Your screen looks great. You got fresh internet. I just want to give a quick thank you to. We've had a couple big donations. We had some people who watched it, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, you got to fix this stuff." So I did, and so they want to remain anonymous, but I just wanted to give them a thank you because I know they'll be watching the show. They may not be watching it right now or tonight, but they will.
Well, my wife and your stepmother set this all up tonight, so that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. It's not jumping around. Yeah.
No, it's not. Thank you.
Well, and again, I brought it up. We missed the last few weeks. You were traveling, okay?
Yep. Yeah.
And I had a birthday, and I was busy.
Yeah.
And then you weren't feeling well. Do you want to talk about what happened?
I was diagnosed positive with COVID, even though I had no fever.
What?
Yeah, COVID. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Were you in the hospital? Did they put you on
a shot?
Were you overwhelmed? Were you in the hallway of an overwhelmed hospital on a ventilator? Or did you?
No, I didn't. None of that stuff. That's all a bunch of crap.
So you survived? Okay.
Yeah, I've survived, and so I'm fine. Even the health department called, and they were very disappointed because I didn't have any dire things to tell them, and that I had maybe had a fever one night, but never anything higher than 190, 197, and they tested it at the at MD Now. I went in there, a urgent care center. I was fine, and but I did have it. Probably I had it, but I mean,
tested positive, right?
Yeah, I tested positive. I have that. PDF, so I can take that anywhere and fly anywhere in the world, maybe. If they'll let me, unless they want me to get the vaccine, which I don't want to get because it's not. Let's not go there. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm great.
Well, I'm
back to school.
I would like to say that you're special.
Okay.
But 99.98% of people who got it like you survived, so you're not that special.
And I'm in my 48th year of teaching I'm at Boca Raton High School. And I will officially retire this coming Thursday, but I will teach for, I hope 5 more years, but we'll see what happens. But that's how the Florida retirement system works. I'm back in kind of the public system that I started in Ohio. I did I love Westminster. It's great. Please keep praying for it. Please keep supporting it. A lot of you are from there, but I'm in a public system now, and everything's going great. I had a good week this week. My stepdaughter teaches with me. If you remember Bob and Betty Edwards, their granddaughter, Robbie's stepsister, teaches with me in the morning. So that's nice to have her there in case I need a change of an adult diaper, which Robbie referred to earlier, which I don't need. But anyway, yeah, so everything's going great. Robbie, go ahead and take it away. I read your notes, and I'm willing to jump in at any time, but you got some really good stuff tonight. Go.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dad. We discussed Buck
Proud
versus
of you.
Bell.
Wow. Yes.
And then let me go ahead and bring that up. So Buck versus Bell, if you want to give a quick, or I could give a quick.
You go ahead. You take it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about prior to Buck versus Bell. I did a little bit of reading about the eugenic sterilization legislation, which started in the late 1800s. So this is 1890s.
Yeah.
There was some doctors who were they used to castrate people.
Oh,
okay.
Geez. Ouch.
So they used to just castrate them. And then obviously because of the 14th Amendment, that was a cruel and unusual punishment. So a doctor, I don't have his name here, but in 1897,
the 14th Amendment was post-Civil War.
Right.
And there was the 13th was the tail end of the Civil War, the movie Lincoln, 14th, and then the 15th. You got to kind of keep this in track. Go ahead. Not you, but everybody else. Go.
Yeah. So, right, the 14th Amendment. So then a doctor came up with a procedure for the vasectomy. The first vasectomy was done in 1897.
Ouch.
Okay.
Ouch.
And now who are they sterilizing, right? Who did they want to sterilize? This was a eugenicist. These were eugenicists.
African Americans, partly.
Right.
Go ahead.
Rapists. Okay.
Yep.
And then it started getting into imbeciles, so people who had low IQs or had mental issues or were deformed, they would just sterilize them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's basically what the eugenics movement was about. And then that's just a kind of a little thing that they use. This was one of their promotions. I don't know if I can expand this maybe so you can read it, but it just shows all the little roots of the tree there. And it's statistics and anthropology and genetics, and all these roots grow into this tree to make one big beautiful tree. They have to filter out all these little areas of the community so that people don't produce offspring that are considered undesirable for the community, right?
Yes.
So this went for a while, right?
Yes, it did, all the way well into the 1930s. Yes.
And there was some big names that were promoting it.
Yeah, America. Margaret Sanger, who was the founder of Planned Parenthood. I'm sorry, but if you're wherever you are in the political spectrum, that's why you don't see the Planned Parenthood annual award anymore. Facebook will censor it. Twitter will censor it. None of the major news agencies will do it because she was a big proponent of Planned Parenthood and eugenicists in the disadvantaged areas of American cities, mainly the black neighborhood. Sorry, that's why you don't see Margaret Sanger's name anymore. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what it was. 1910. Genetic statutes had been enacted in Washington, California, and Connecticut. And by the end of the 1920s, 24 states had passed involuntary sterilization laws. Now, again, this is involuntary.
Involuntary, that's right.
So what that means is if they don't deem you as an acceptable functioning member of society, if you're even kids that were doing poorly in school, they would send them to the psychiatric or education facilities where they would be looked at and measured by doctors. I don't know if you remember those those
Yes.
things they would put on their head and measure their head and
Yep.
measure that way and try to get the genetic traits to see if there was an issue.
And this was America. This was America.
This is America.
Yes.
Right. This is America. 1910s, 1920s.
Yep.
And then we get kind of into this guy. His name was Harry Laughlin. He was the superintendent of the Eugenics Record Office.
Yes.
In 1922, Laughlin authored a model sterilization law that became the prototype for similar laws enacted in the United States. Okay. So what happens is, and this is kind of where we get into Carrie Buck. Okay. And this is the Buck versus Bell court case. This is pre-Carrie Buck. So when we get into Carrie Buck's case, okay, Carrie Buck was just a young girl. Okay. She was a foster child. She was put in a foster home. So she had, foster parents, and they made her, do all the chores. She had brothers or foster brothers and sisters. And then one day, I guess, back when she was 17, one of her foster mother's nephews, so this would be her cousin, sexually assaulted her, and she became pregnant. Now, the family that she was fostered by was the Dodd family, and the Dodd family were well-renowned folks in town, and they didn't want their reputation being burned, so they sent her, because of her promiscuity, okay, they sent her to one of these they were called colonies, right?
Yes.
Colonies, they were basically mental institutions.
Yes.
But at the time they were called colonies. So they sent her to the Virginia colony, all right? And they declared she was not smart, even though her school records say that she did well in school. But because she had other character traits. Now, remember, with eugenics, anything deemed like promiscuity or immoral behavior, which was, alcoholism, drug abuse, they considered all these genetic traits. These were character traits that people had, and they were in their genetics. So to sterilize them, meaning they couldn't have any offspring and therefore not produce more alcoholics, more promiscuous people, more, imbeciles, which was stupid or retarded or developmentally handicapped.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
So that gets us to Carrie Buck. So that's just kind of what we went. 1927, the Virginia courts ordered the sterilization of a young woman named Carrie Buck. Okay, so what happened prior to this was when she was in that colony, that institution, she couldn't be forcibly sterilized at the time. Okay, she could be locked up and all that and treated, but she couldn't be sterilized. They had to get the legislature to pass it. So the doctor in the facility went to the Virginia Supreme Court, and then her attorney was a director at this Virginia. He was a board member of this Virginia college. So they set it up. She was kind of used as a pawn. They set it up to where they would win the case so that they could start. She was just the first one, then many.
She was number one. Yep.
She was number one. Yeah, she was patient one. And so it, obviously they passed it, but it had to go to the Supreme Court because the Eugenics Society. Now remember, these were very, very high-ranking people that were very into this program, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I don't want to get ahead. So 1927, this goes to court, and of course they deem her an imbecile, okay, and committed her. And the doctor that started the case died, and then Dr. Bell came in and performed the sterilization on her. So that's why we get the Buck versus Bell name. And so there she is, Carrie Buck, sweet little girl.
On the left,
17 years old. That's her mother in the photo. This is actually at the asylum. This was after her sterilization. This was many years later. She had to stay at that asylum. And the baby she gave birth to a little daughter named Vivian. And which makes this story even crazier. The girl was because she, gave birth and she was considered an imbecile. Therefore, her offspring was immediately considered an imbecile, okay, and it's going to be promiscuous. So the daughter was given to Carrie Buck's foster parents, the Dodds, the one that the nephew raped her. Okay, they raised the girl until I think she was 7, and then she was committed. to another asylum. But
Wow.
this is Carrie Buck's mother. Carrie Buck's mother was in an asylum, and that's how Carrie Buck was adopted. Okay, so this is what they were doing back then. Okay, these people had some kind of little, either was from now what we know, what, schizophrenia, stuff like that.
Possibly, yeah, borderline schizophrenia. Yes.
Right, madness they
Yes.
called it, or whatever. Maybe her mother was just a homeless. She was homeless, or she was poor. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, back then, poor people were dumb. That's what they would say.
Usually, paranoid schizophrenia was that was the popular one. But go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So this is just a photo of the Supreme Court justices that ruled on the case. But so after all this, after Buck versus Bell is passed in the Supreme Court, we head into what, right around the 1930s. Okay. All right. So we had a few things going on, right? We had what was going on in the 20s. You had the roaring 20s, and then what happened?
Yes. Well, then you have in Germany, you have the rise of Adolf Hitler, if that's where you want to go next. But that's,
well, I was going to talk about the Depression.
I'm sorry. Yes.
After this court case, this had a little bit of public resistance. The public didn't really like it too much.
Yeah.
They didn't like the fact that people were being forcibly now. It was legal now to sterilize people involuntary.
But the stock market crash was somewhat attributed to the mongrelization of immigration coming into the United States and weakening the economic system, partly. But go ahead.
But but you got to remember. So what we were talking about earlier, there were some major supporters of this movement, this eugenics movement, and they were trying to promote it. This was right after the Great Depression. Okay, so now you get names like Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, Winston Churchill, Edward Thorndike, Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, Stanley Hall, George Bernard Shaw, John H. Kellogg of Kellogg's cereal,
and health advocate. Go ahead.
H.G. Wells, okay.
Yeah.
You want to go into H.G. Wells a little bit?
Novelist and movie producer, but go ahead. Or go ahead. I was thinking of Orson Welles, but H.G. Wells, novelist.
Yeah, well, H.G. Wells was, you were right. He was Aldous Huxley.
Huxley, yes. Yeah, 1984. Go.
Yeah, John Maynard Keynes.
Yeah, economist, world government economist.
Yeah,
and also a pedophile. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These were the people. People who were more money and involved in all sorts of nefarious things. Right? Are promoting sterilizing the not as smart as they were, right?
They're elites. Yeah, they're the elites.
Exactly, they're elites. Yep. This is the elite society. Okay, and then your lady that you brought up earlier, Margaret Sanger.
Yes, American Birth Control Movement. Yep.
Big time supporter. And then you had Theodore Roosevelt, who was
hard to believe, but yes.
Theodore Roosevelt. In fact, Roosevelt once admonished, "Someday we will realize that the prime duty, an inescapable duty of the good citizen of the right type, is to leave his or her blood behind him in the world."
Yeah, wow.
Meaning that's it. You're done reproducing. Yeah. We don't need any more people like you. So here's these guys. Here's the Supreme Court's the one guy, the Chief Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. He was the bad guy. And this decision, it wasn't like this was a close call. This wasn't a close decision. It was 8-1.
Yeah, 8-1. One person.
One guy who was a devout Catholic. That was it.
Wow.
One guy voted against it.
So all you Catholic Westminster kids out there, you got something to be proud of, because that was the only bastion of morality in this case, was a devout Catholic who believed in, what he believed in. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just reading my notes here.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going to get into we'll get into the Nazis in a minute, because the Nazis is a big a bag to unpack. We're basically, you'll see how the cow eats the cabbage here in a minute.
Yep.
But another major motivation for eugenics was heavy immigration.
Yep.
So you had a huge immigration problem in the 1920s and 30s. Okay. Now, again, this is trying to get the public to buy in to this movement, this eugenics movement. You had the Immigration Act of 1924, right?
This was called the Mccarran Walter Act. It was a series of acts. But go ahead, 1924.
No, go ahead. Expand.
No, Mccarran Walter Act was directed towards the very thing you're referring to, which would be inferiors, parts of the world that we didn't want coming in to ruin whatever we had going on here in the 1920s. But the Mccarran Walter Act went from roughly 1923-24 up into the early 30s because these guys stayed in office. They put their names on the legislation. Everybody went along with it in lockstep, and that's kind of where we ended up. Go ahead. Mccarran Walter Act, hyphen. And it went up to actually the 1950s. There was a revival of it with the, if you want to call it the McCarthy era with communism, they kind of revised it to fit the communist hysteria that, what's his name? The Senator Joseph McCarthy, whatever, which he ended up proving to be right about the threat of communism, but that's kind of where it segued. They just brought it back and revised it or reprised it for the 1950s. But go ahead, go back to the 1920s and 30s. Go ahead, you're on a roll.
Well, so it's just basically saying that the eugenicist testimony before Congress actually helped pass the the Immigration Act.
Yes.
So and they're basically saying that, hey, if you're not gonna inspect these immigrants, okay, meaning test them and their ability to read and write and comprehend and work, if they're gonna be low level type immigrants, we're gonna you got to at least either stop it or sterilize them.
Yeah. Well, wow, that sounds. We got tons of. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if we have tons of immigrants coming in now with COVID and we don't do anything about it, and we have all this COVID flooding into Texas, Florida, because that's where they're coming in, and they're being sent through Catholic Charities to
Orlando.
Yeah, to Orlando, to Columbus, Ohio. I talked to a girl whose sister goes to Ohio State University, and she said she saw a whole bunch of people. Same time that I saw, and I don't mean to be racist, but same type of people I saw when I was in Miami this summer. They look like they've come in from El Salvador. They have bundles on their head, and they're coughing out like crazy. No masks. And this is what, I don't know. Is there a repeat of history? Does history repeat itself?
We're getting into that.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of this thing, and I don't mean to do that, but as I look at this and as you're reciting it to me, I see, those who fail to learn the lessons from history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
That's where I see where we are. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you had that. You had the Great Depression. You had a high unemployment rate. You had a high poverty rate so this is 1930s. Yes. We're in the Great Depression. Yep. And so that changed the public's tolerance of eugenics sterilization. So meaning they were now starting to be okay with it, right? Whereas they weren't before. They were now starting to be okay with it. So which then started all these kind of movements in different states across America. Yes. All of a sudden, everybody started jumping in on we need to start sterilizing bad people. And I think at one point through this process from 1913, when it really kicked off up until now, over 100,000 Americans now had since been involuntarily sterilized. Remember that word, involuntarily.
Involuntarily.
They had no choice.
Yeah.
So try getting some sleep tonight, folks.
Jeez. Yeah.
This quote I thought was interesting. So it is better for all the world if instead of waiting to execute degenerate offspring for crime or to let them starve for their imbecility, society can prevent those who are manifestly unfit from continuing their kind.
Wow.
This is the statement from Chief Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes.
Yes.
So that's, I think that guy right there in the middle, right? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
it's either
that's
him or
him.
this guy with
That's him. No, it's
the
the middle
cigar
guy.
mustache or
It's
whatever
the
they
guy.
call it.
It's the middle guy.
Yeah,
He was a
Wendell
Civil War
Justice.
veteran.
Yeah, Oliver Wendell
Yep.
Holmes.
He was in the Battle of Gettysburg, actually, believe it or not, as a kid, still living. But now you relate this to the Nazis, and the Nazis used this quote.
Well, it had to become popular
Yes,
in America.
yes,
And then yes, the Nazis
yes,
started in 32. That I guess
yes.
it was. So go ahead and you're a big World War II guy.
Well, yeah, and I had a
You
couple
know
of years
this
in
way
Germany.
more than I do.
We are not aliens, is what that's saying. We do not remain aliens. We are not aliens, and they're of course speaking against the eugenicist movement. That's what this is right here. And they're looking at all the countries that are kind of saying that they're on the side of Germany, but they're not. And so the Germans are taking a step out, and they're using this to promote their own eugenicist thing. And the backbone, this is very important, and we had this in American history at Westminster, of the Holocaust movement. Okay, so the Germans use American court case and American stuff. They took over, 1933, but they used this in the Nuremberg trials in 1945-46 to justify their own utilization of the Holocaust against the Jews and blacks and Lutherans. Evangelical Christians would affect many of you from, not all of you, but many of you from Westminster. They were out to eliminate you. And this was part of what the Germans said. Yeah, but we took it from your court case. We took it from your Buck court case. And there it is. And they quoted that in the Nuremberg trials. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, so when we talked earlier about this guy, Harry Laughlin, right? So he was the one that actually wrote the law into legislation. He was actually given an award. He was given an honorary doctoral degree in 1936 from Heidelberg University in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, that's
in
where all
the American
that's
that
where
writes,
the SS Heidelberg is the birthplace of the SS, the stormtroopers, and the Wehrmacht, the stormtroopers of the Nazi Germany. I'm sorry, but that's where they all officer corps graduated from. Anyway, yeah, these were the hardcore Nazis. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Nazi Germany actually adopted this into law in 1933.
Yep, they followed our lead. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So they called it the eugenic sterilization law. Sanctioned the involuntary sterilization of German citizens who process hereditary afflictions such as blindness. So the Nazis,
or being black and tarted, was also included. If you were black in Germany, that was it. If you look at Germany's soccer team in the European Cup, 4 black players, really great players, but they wouldn't be there today if this.
They wouldn't have been in whatever the Olympics was in 1930, whatever.
Jeez.
Well, you got to remember, the Nazis didn't start the euthanasia program when they actually started. This was the sterilization. They started with sterilization first. So you got to remember something about tyranny. Okay, tyranny starts off very small, and then they go full force at you. But that wasn't until the 40s, early 40s, right? Because World War ended in what? 44, 45. Right. Yep. And then the Holocaust, I think, started in 42 when they actually started euthanizing.
It depends. Yeah. 42 was when it really kicked up. It was going on as early as 37, but go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. They were starting to build the final solution, the camps, the crematoriums, 37, 38, but 42 was when it was really going full force. Yes.
All right. So, but the Germans included blindness, epilepsy, mental illness such as schizophrenia, and most physical handicaps. Okay, so
and 2 things: being black and being a Lutheran Christian.
Yeah.
Dietrich Bonhoeffer went to his death a month before liberation, just because he was like what Westminster Academy, the Westminster Confession would believe. Just because he was a Christian, they gassed him. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's good.
No.
I'm just going. All I'm doing is reading notes. You have this stuff in your head.
Yeah. So, some of these kids, from WA might have already gotten Dietrich Bonhoeffer later on, and he's coming. He's kind of a person that's coming back because he died in April of '45, and he refused to bow to the Nazis and any of their philosophies and any of their stuff, including racism, including stuff against the Jews. And he went with the Jews into the gas chambers singing Christian songs as they were being all eliminated for what you're talking about right here. That was in April of '45. Go ahead.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So he's
all
singing.
Ties in. Yeah, he was singing Christian hymns, and the Jews were with him as they were going into the showers. Let me just state this real quick. The type of capsules that were used by to make the crematorium gas, I guess you could say, accelerate, were Zyklon D tablets, which were produced by IG Farben, a pharmaceutical company, in line and with philosophies and communication with Margaret Sanger of the American Birth Control Movement. This stuff's all connected. It's documented. Prove me wrong. Come back on here and say, hey, you're full of crap. I found this. I'll be glad to listen to you. But the research is there. IG Farben and Margaret Sanger, who you don't see anybody celebrating in Hollywood anymore, the Margaret Sanger Award that they used to give away every year. Because she was for eugenicism, and specifically in areas and neighborhoods throughout the world, and mainly Vereinigungsstaat in the United States, which is, Vereinigungsstaat United, which is German for United States. And she knew that for areas of America that were predominated by ghetto or black because of the mongrelization of the American race, Madison Grant, How the Other Half Lives, all this stuff comes together. Some of the stuff I taught at WA, some of it at Broward College. And, here it is all coming together. And then you have the Nuremberg Law, which probably is where you need to go to next, because this is what the Nazis used as their defense was this court case, the Buck court case. The Nazis used this in their defense at the Nuremberg trials to say we were right in doing what we're doing because we got it from you guys in America. You guys in America started this. We took it. We expedited it. What's the big deal? Let us all go. And of course, the Russians and the Americans, for other reasons, would have nothing to do with it. That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the Nazis obviously took it to another level.
Oh, geez, yes.
They started at least in America, it was just we just kept it at involuntary sterilization. That was it.
Yeah.
We're either going to cut if you're a woman, we're going to cut your fallopian tubes. And if you're a man, we're going to give you a vasectomy.
Yeah. Wow.
We still do it to this day with rapists in prison systems. It's called chemical castration.
Yes.
And people say, well, it's cruel and unusual punishment, but you got to remember the Supreme Court decided in 1927 that it wasn't cruel and unusual. It was actually helping society do this.
Yeah.
So, but the Nazis obviously took it to a whole nother level, but then they started including the Jewish people who were, it was a religion. So it wasn't just, the weak-minded, the feeble-minded, the handicapped. They started including homosexuality, like you said, race, as far as the African-American race. And then they started including religions. Okay. So the Jewish religion was then declared not to be part of what Germany had envisioned for the world.
And let me just say this real quick. When I left WA and went back to the public school system, I ran into a lot of these people in the Holocaust studies movement. And I actually ran into survivors. I don't know how they survived. I've heard their stories. I have no idea. This is one of the blessings of maybe going back to the public system, as I was able to be part of the Holocaust documentation center out of Florida, out of Washington, D.C., and I met people from Miami Beach And they were actually every ethnic group you have talked about. There were homosexuals, there were Jews, there were blacks, and they survived Germans. They survived this stuff, and they don't know how they did. And the stories are just unbelievable. And I used to take, actually, for a while when I was at WA still, I took kids. Some of you might be remembering, I took kids every year from 1993 to 2008. I took a group every year because I was allowed to do that and hear these people sit around and talk about this stuff and verify everything you're saying right here. And I had not really, I'm ashamed to say some of the stuff I didn't know. Robbie and I have an uncle, the blood uncle that fought in Europe during this time to stop all this stuff, but you never had it. Robbie never had a chance to meet him, but he's gone now. He's been gone for a while. But
Uncle Gilbert?
No, that was Uncle Tom. Believe it or not, I found out some stuff about him. I haven't told you that yet. My dad's other brother.
Yeah.
But Uncle Thomas, he was in part of the German. He was like in the mop-up campaign in the American Army, and wouldn't talk about this stuff, but did write some of it down. And I meant to tell you this. I'll send some of it to you. I found some of it, but this is what the Germans used the American court case as their argument to do what you see. What you see right here. This is the Nuremberg trials.
This is a photo of the Nuremberg trial.
These guys are using the American court case to justify what they did.
They actually cited Buck versus Bell.
Yes, yeah, they did. They did. Yes, sir.
They said, "Hey, we got this idea from you guys.
You Americans, yes."
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's true.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
I mean, America kind of kicked off the whole, we're the example for the world.
Yep. I think the Germans were just looking for something, but unfortunately, we happened to provide it. Yeah. So, go ahead. Yep.
So then you get World War II ends, right?
Yes.
These guys go to jail. They all get killed, right? They were all executed.
Well, eventually, most of them were. Yes, eight or nine of them were. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Some of them escaped to Argentina.
Well, some of them were allowed to. One, we don't know what happened to him. Martin Bormann, we don't know. He took off, possibly Hitler, to Paraguay. I mean, I'm sorry. I've even talked to people.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That they were in a German U-boat.
Yeah.
They escaped in a U-boat.
Yeah. So I mean, some of them got out, some of them didn't. Some of them were executed, hung. As we even had the photographs of them, I guess, which are pretty authentic. But that was their argument in their defense, was the Buck trial.
Yep. All right, moving right along. So here we go we're moving into the 50s. So the Population Council, which was funded by, drum roll, John D. Rockefeller III.
There they are.
Okay, so his dad prior was a eugenicist who actually got the ball rolling for the Buck versus Bell case, supported it. Okay, now you have his son, right? The third?
Yes, John D. Rockefeller III.
Okay, starts the Population Council.
Yes.
And they did this study in family planning.
Yeah.
All right.
I have some bad news for you. Can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, John D. Rockefeller II, his wife is Mary Aldrich. And Mary Aldrich and you and I are all descended from people that were on the Mayflower. We're all connected. Ellen DeGeneres,
Ellen DeGeneres,
Richard Gere.
Come on,
yeah,
man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to destroy your whole YouTube thing, but you and I are actually related to these people.
I don't know if I believe that. That's
no. It's ancestry, DNA documented. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Ancestry,
that'll liven up the Friday night.
Isn't that
Friday
a Chinese?
I didn't tell you that. Friday the 13th. Sorry. No, but go ahead. Go ahead. Continue. You're related to John D. Rockefeller's wife.
All right, then why are we on YouTube begging for chicken wing money?
I don't know. I guess we're just lost souls in the world of whatever
we're
this
imbeciles. We're going to be
jeez.
We're going to be sterilized.
Yeah, we're hardly imbeciles if we're doing this stuff. But go ahead, continue. Go.
All right. So, anyways, John D. Rockefeller.
Mary Aldrich. We're from the Aldrich family.
Ellen DeGeneres.
I know. Richard Gere. Ken Burns, who does all the biography stuff. We're related to him.
How?
Geez, who else? It's terrible. Go ahead. Go, continue.
No, this is good. How?
Yeah,
This is part of, they
yeah,
may want to euthanize us.
yeah. 3 Mayflower family people. Sorry, but go ahead. And some of you guys I've run into over the years at Westminster. The Hess family were related. Sorry, I know that's probably bad news for you, but anyway, go
Where's
ahead.
all this money?
Yeah, I don't know. Hayden Cassim. He was in Sean's class, 2006. And Hayden, we are related to Hayden Cassim. We're all, if you were on the Mayflower and you're related to Stephen Hopkins, William Brewster, or Thomas Rogers, we're related. Send us beer money and everything's covered. Go ahead. Go.
All right, good. It's all taken
Thank you.
care of, right?
I
Isn't
said
that your
beer money.
favorite?
I'm sorry. I wasn't.
No, it's
supposed to
okay.
say
Beer
that.
money's fine.
All right. Well,
You can
whatever.
say beer money on YouTube. People cuss. I
Jeez.
mean, they
But
do.
Westminster. Oh man, we're going to be in bad shape because of what? Go ahead. Go.
Well, what
Sorry.
are they going to do?
I don't know nothing.
They
I'm
do
sorry.
send you a letter saying,
you were bad.
yeah,
you talked about beer.
You talked
Oh
about
my
beer.
gosh.
Shame on you. You know, all those teachers went home and got wasted.
Oh, jeez.
Dealing with us every day.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we got to get back on track here. We got a lot of wood to cut. All right,
Yeah, we sure does. We sure do.
So John D. Rockefeller obviously is involved. He's carrying on his family's legacy.
Yes.
Started using this money. This was $74 million budget for family planning. Obviously, it was about sterilization, fertility control, where they were studying birth control pills, devices on how to, contraceptive devices. So this is all about what? Population control, right?
Yes.
Getting rid of the undesirables in the population, or deplorables, right?
Yeah, deplorable.
That's a recent word we've heard lately. Deplorables. Okay.
Wow.
So then we get obviously into now the 60s. We had the whole civil rights issues, and then in the 70s here, this was another bill, House Bill 20, okay, which was, again, now they were trying to include not just people who were, had handicaps and stuff like that. They were trying to go after poor people.
Yeah.
They wanted to sterilize poor people. So if you didn't make enough money, or if you were a certain race in these areas, now, again, we just got over Nazi Germany, right?
Yeah.
But then what happens is all of a sudden all these programs got more funding again. So it kind of reinvigorated the eugenics movement. All right. And it started all this stuff again. And look, there's a African-American woman holding up a sign saying, hey, don't vote for this.
Yeah.
They're trying to sterilize us.
Yeah.
Remember, this is involuntary.
Yes.
Involuntary.
Well, the Tuskegee experiment. Go ahead.
Well, that was syphilis.
Yes.
Right? They were
crazy.
injecting them with syphilis.
We probably everybody listening to you should probably have heard of that at their state university level, because that was the big one they go to. They skip everything else, but they go to Tuskegee. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, what year was Tuskegee? And then wasn't that the 50s?
Oh, shoot. I forget. 50 something.
And that was in Alabama.
Yes. Syphilis.
Right. They were injecting them with syphilis and then not treating them for it to see how it would spread through the population.
Paid for by taxes, believe it or not.
It was the Army, right? That was injecting them?
Part of it was, I think. I don't remember the whole thing. I'm sorry. I'll have to take a pass on that one. Go ahead. I can't remember. It had nothing to do with Tuskegee Institute or Booker T. Washington. He was long gone, or George Washington Carver. They were long gone before this started. But go ahead.
Well, but so my point, I guess the reason why I kind of wanted to do the timeline here is because, you can't, you go back to something that started over 100 years
Yeah.
ago, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people go, well, that was over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not going to go on now. They don't
Oh
do this
yeah.
stuff now.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
so have you ever heard of a conservatorship? That's when
Yeah.
somebody kind of loses their mind. There was a very
Yeah.
public figure here recently.
Yeah.
She's a popcorn. She was more my time. I had a big crush on her.
Yeah. Britney
Her,
Spears.
yeah, Britney Spears. There
Yep.
she is.
Yep. There
Woo.
she is. Yep.
Ooh, I'm going
Wow.
to zoom in on that.
Very controversial.
Yeah. So now, did they sterilize her? No, but they forced her to use an IUD, or I think it's called an IUD.
Yes.
It's a contraceptive, so it's an implanted.
Intrauterine device. Go ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You should have been a gynecologist, but
Oh, geez, no.
but
No.
yeah. So if you don't think it's happening today, if you don't
Yeah.
think that some of this stuff is
Yeah.
now happening today, well, there you go. There's a perfect example.
Yeah.
She's nuttier than squirrel poop,
Yeah,
right?
she
That's
is.
what everybody says.
Yes.
And and she couldn't have any children, so they sterilized her.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's our modern day Carrie Buck.
Yes. Yeah,
Right?
kind of.
I mean, she had no control over this. They forced it on her. So it means she had to undergo a procedure. I mean,
okay, so
I don't think you put it in yourself.
Hold on to your script, because one of the things I have from a quote from her that she gave is one of the big regrets that she had in life was not marriage, wasn't children, but it was because she never went to Florida State. That's a direct quote. You live in Tallahassee. Stop right there and keep going. Go. Sorry. I had to throw that in there so everybody could go.
Hey, we would have taken her.
Yeah, jeez.
I mean,
that's what she said.
As a Seminole.
That says something about, her taste in schools. There you go. Wherever side of the paradigm you're on that. Go ahead. I just remember that quote from her, and I was really shocked when I heard it. But go ahead. Go.
Well, anyways, there you go. There's our modern day Carrie Buck right there.
There she is. There she is.
All right. And
better hairstyle. Sorry.
Yeah, she's a little cuter than
Kerry Buck. I'm sorry.
Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of this is going to be a little what do you call it?
Political.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we dealing with today? We're dealing with a crisis, right? A medical crisis.
Pandemic.
Okay. This is I found this in NBC Miami, Channel 6.
Yes.
Right? This is in their archive.
Wow.
Okay.
I saw this.
This is the courtesy of the University of Miami. This is a University of Miami study. Okay.
Yes.
What did they find in human testicles? You can read it right there. I'm not going to say it out loud.
Wow.
But they found this in human testicles right there.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
So now, interesting, huh? Modern day.
Yeah.
Sterilization issue, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
It's a virus. It attacks your body. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. I know very little about medicine. I can tell you how to cook a chicken, but I can't tell you how to slice a testicle, unless it's a bull testicle or something like that.
Okay. And when your stepmother read this, she told me that tonight I'm sleeping in the garage. But go ahead, continue.
Really? Why is that?
No, I don't know.
Oh. Are you in the doghouse again? What happened?
No, I'm sorry. Little humor. Little Friday night, Friday the 13th humor. Go ahead.
Are you out of diapers?
No, jeez. Right.
So now there's a medicine, right?
Yes.
There's a medicine you're supposed to take, right?
Yeah.
For this testicle virus thing, right? There's a medicine you're supposed to take to protect you, right?
Oh,
and in this medicine, now this is from October of last year.
Yes.
This is where they wanted to, this is from the FDA. I got this off the FDA website. This is not, I didn't just make this up.
No, FDA.
Okay, there's a reaction here.
Yes.
There's a side effect. Pregnancy and birth outcomes.
Wow.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's a good thing I didn't take that while your mom was carrying you. But go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Well, I'm
No,
just
but you're
saying,
right. You're right.
this is modern day Buck versus
Yes,
Bell. You've always
yes,
taught me history
yes.
repeats itself. If you want to know what's going on today, you got to look back to where it was going on in
And
the past.
that's October 22nd, 2020. AD, the American Department of Agriculture. What is it? ADF. I forget.
FDA, Food and Drug
FDA.
Administration.
That's it. Yep, that's where it came from. And it was only on for a fraction of a second. They took it down. They were doing a slideshow. Wow.
So
Okay,
something
go
that
ahead.
started back in
Yes.
October of
Yep.
1913. Look at that. So right
Yep.
here, right on
There
the
it
bottom
is.
here,
Yep.
1913. Here we
Yep.
are,
Yep.
109 or 108 years later.
Something.
In
Yep.
October,
Yes.
there's a medicine out
Yep.
that affects
Yeah.
outcomes of birth, right?
And those that fail to learn the lessons of history will repeat it.
That's right.
There you go.
Who said that?
I don't know. The person that right now is adjusting my diaper. Who is that? Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go
All
get
right.
him.
Yeah, I will.
All right. If anybody wants to fact check us,
Yes.
go
Do
to
it.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, do Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Why not?
That's what everybody likes to use now. And you can
geez.
scroll down here. All right, there's a
Oh.
picture of Dr. Buck there on the left.
Yes.
You got Carrie or Dr. Bell. That's Dr. Bell right there.
Yes.
He's the one that sterilized Kerry Buck up here.
Yes.
There's the Justice Holmes. Oh, it was that
Jeez.
guy with the handlebar mustache. That was
Well,
the guy. It was the guy on the left.
And that's Oliver Wendell Holmes, I believe.
Yeah, that's Oliver. That's Justice Holmes right there.
He was a
guy that
Gettysburg.
wrote that. Hey, it's not a
Yeah.
cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
You can start sterilizing people involuntary now.
Yes.
Involuntary.
Yes.
Meaning you have no choice. You have to do it.
People
They put you to
respected
sleep.
him.
They put you to sleep
Yep.
and you wake up and you can't have kids.
Jeez.
All right, so there's references. I just basically went in here and I found all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
So if you guys want to fact check us,
jeez,
go ahead. I welcome it.
Yeah.
And then, like my dad said earlier, come back at us, and we'll be more than happy to fix whatever is. If we misspoke, we misspoke.
Wow.
And then I thought the Nazi thing was real interesting, so I just wanted to give everybody a link to that.
Yeah.
This will keep you up at night. Basically going over the whole Nazi propaganda, and it is literally word for word.
Yeah.
What the Supreme Court. I mean, if you look right here in this paragraph right here.
Yeah.
The Nazis were using this word for word. They were basically reciting the justices on the Supreme Court during the Nuremberg trials.
Yes. It became the Nuremberg Rule, which some of you that have researched the COVID vaccine situation, you've heard of the Nuremberg Rule, and this is where it initiated from. Yes.
Yes, so this article was called Revisiting the Three Generations of Imbeciles, the Impact of Buck versus Bell on the American Eugenics Movement, written by Hanby O.
Yeah. Yeah, please comment. I don't know, and let's hear what you have to say.
Well, nobody's really watching. You got to remember it's the first week of school.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Everybody's out getting drunk. They're trying not to. Maybe they're locking down again. I don't know. I think I know. We do have one. I think cousin Ricky Blanchette is on. He's watching, so give him a shout out.
God bless you, Ricky.
He said the lizard people plan sometimes 100 years in advance, so obviously he's messing with us.
Oh, Ricky, funny guy. Okay. Well, that was fun.
And then that wraps up that. And then hey, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Look at this. We got some money.
Oh man, finally.
Yeah. You ready to go over the money real quick? This is always
sure.
fun.
Go ahead.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Cash App. Here I go. I'm opening it up on my phone.
Wow.
All right. So Vanilla Gorilla.
Wow.
Vanilla Gorilla. You know anybody named Vanilla Gorilla?
I probably had her in 2011 at Boca High. Yeah,
Vanilla Gorilla.
Yeah, I think I remember her.
It looks like he's just a troll.
Oh, it's a he. Never mind.
He gave I don't know who it is. It could be a non-binary person
sure.
as well.
Sure.
But this is they're doing this stupid thing.
Yeah, that's all right.
Buy AMC GME Apes to the Moon. It's a that bull crap meme stock
Yeah,
stuff.
that's okay. Go ahead.
Next. Mike Girth.
Oh man, that rings a bell.
Mike Girth.
Okay.
My Girth. Mike
Okay.
Girth. My Girth.
Okay.
Solid, strong show, well-rounded, full of material.
Wow. Mike
I think
Girth.
that's a joke. Mike
No,
Girth.
I've heard that
Girth.
name before, but not in Westminster, but at Boca High. Go ahead.
Strong. He bought you 5 wings.
Wow. Jeez.
Strong, solid show, well-rounded, full of material.
Okay.
All right. Mississippi Mud says, gave you $5.
Wow.
Says, is this where we get the saying bell curve?
That's interesting. Yes and no, but I don't have time to go through that. Yeah, I think he's on a trajectory there. Yes. It could be. I mean,
well, that's it, man. $15.
Wow.
Hey, you got chicken wings tonight.
Wow, that was worth it. That was worth it. I wish everybody well. Good to see all of you. Thanks. If you do watch this, later, that's great.
Yeah, we had some new subscribers come on. We have, I think, 5. Part of the problem is we took 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
You were traveling that first week, and then it was that Friday, last Friday was my birthday, and then you were sick with COVID.
Yeah, geez, COVID. Tell everybody. Yeah, I had COVID. Okay,
yeah.
But I'm fine. I recovered.
Well, you're not special, man.
I had no fever.
% of the people.
I had 97 when I went into the place to get tested. I had a 97.5, which is nothing. My respiration was fine. And she even said, this is probably going to be a false test because your breathing is incredible. And I tested positive. But I did feel run down before that. But I thank you for the chicken wings and everything else because I think that got me through it. But at least I had it. So I don't have to get the vaccine now. I don't have to be eugenicized because I've had it and I have the antibodies for it. My wife is okay. She had it as well. She's better. As of tonight, we're both doing very well. And
I had it.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. There you go. So we went through us. We survived.
I wasn't on a ventilator. I wasn't
exactly.
in the hospital.
Nope.
All I had was a headache, and then Zach got sick, and then I was like, well, let's just get tested, and you got COVID.
Yeah, that's it. And so I've tested positive. My wife has tested positive.
You know what they tell you? They say, go home and rest.
Yeah, what's the deal?
It's like, wait, no, I'm not supposed to go to the hospital and get a ventilator?
Yeah, 10 days I went back to preschool at Boca High and, did all the stuff I had to do and finished my first week of school. I am, for those of you that care, I don't have a social media account. I'm in my 48th year. I start my 48th year.
Well, this is your social media
account. This is it. I start my 48th year of education. I'm not at Boca High. I'm not at Broward College anymore, but I will go. I start 5 years from next Thursday on August 19th. I go 5 years and then I'm done. And it's called the Drop Program, but I hope it's not the Drop Dead Program. But you keep buying me wings and beer and I'll keep going. There you go. Go.
All right, buddy.
All right. Love you.
Right. Hey, this was a good one.
I'm proud of you.
Friday the 13th, man, we did it.
Oh, geez.
And so.
And I am wearing the hat of our ancestor, who most of it's original, that fought in the Civil War for the North. But go ahead, go.
No, that's it. We're done.
That's it. We're done. Okay.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
So love you too, man.
Thanks for
coming. See you next week. Are we doing this next week, right?
Sure,
Friday.
Why not?
You're not going to get COVID again, and I'm not going to do anything.
No more COVID. I already got it. I'm done.
All right, good.
All right.
All right, Dad. Love you.
Love you. Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you, man. That was fun. I hope you enjoy seeing my dad again. We'll try and do this every Friday night. So we'll see you next week. And if you want, give us some suggestions for topics and stuff like that. Chances are we'll have another good one next week.